Hey, Canada's favorite contest, Roll Up to Win, is back. Look, Maddie, put the camera on me.
Wow.
Look. Whoa. Wow. Now, you got to get the Tim Hortons app, but you can win things like, and it says right here on the cup, which you can win, $1,000 with Rakuten, week-long vacations from selloffvacations.com, coffee and donut prizes.
Wow. That's what I want.
Listen, let's just be honest. That's the instant gratification. That's the right away.
What am I going to do with a
Instant
car?
grat.
Yeah. What are you going to do with a car? I want a donut. Let's go.
You know what doesn't come with the donut? Paperwork. Give me the donut.
True. Now, there is the 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz, which is the Volkswagen bus, but reimagined. And it looks really cool, actually. Like, really cool.
I need it because I'm going to attend a hippie festival.
It might actually be great for you because you have so many children.
And a dog.
Yeah. So here you go. Listen. It's so exciting. Yeah. It's Roll Up to Win. You can download the app, get going on it, but it's only on until March 23rd. So open up the Tim's app, get rolling. This is our game, Canada. Play Roll Up to Win on the Tim's app now. Rules apply. Canada only. No purchase necessary. Visit Tim's app for details. Let's start the show, baby. Woo!
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Well, what a weekend. What I'd like to say first off is a big shout out to everybody at the Alibi in London, Ontario. What a great crowd. They were loud,
fired up,
and they were crazy. And every time Steve said beef, they mooed at him.
It was great.
That was cool.
I forgot that I had even suggested that at some point.
I didn't know you had.
Well, I did.
Well, they listened.
They did.
They were mooing like crazy. And it was looking like the perfect night to be in London and watch two London Knights score so many goals for the Leafs. But then the Leafs
ruined my story.
The Leafs allowed so many goals against.
And Stollers is a former Knight too.
I know.
They ruined it. It would have been perfect.
It was great.
Stollers play for the Knights?
He did. He won a championship with them.
What?
With Mitch, I think, right?
I'm not totally sure he was Mitch's goalie.
Oh, okay.
I think you're making that up.
Tavares, Mitch, and Stollers, all Knights.
I'm going to look it up right now. Mitch Marner. It's a shame nobody talks about him. He's pretty good. Don't you think?
Yeah.
London Knights.
Yeah.
That year. Oh, it was Tyler Parsons, Brendan Burke, and Emmanuel Vela. Ooh.
Oh man. The Vela train.
The Vela train. Yo, get on.
Called him.
Get on.
That's what we all called him.
Well,
Robert Thomas was also on that team. Christian Dvorak was also on that team. Evan Bouchard was also on that team. Ole Ulevi was also on that team. What a stacked team.
Damn.
Matthew Tkachuk.
Anthony Stollers was on the Knights that won with Max Domi, Seth Griffith, Bo Horvat, Chris Tierney, Ole Mata. There's some good players on that team. Scott Harrington was on that team.
And you know why the Knights always win? Superior scouting.
That's right.
It's always that.
They do run the best program.
16 London Knights, the best OHL team of all time?
It's not even the best London Knights team of all time.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Look up. I forget what year it was.
Tavares, Kadri, and wasn't it Corey Barry on the same team?
Yeah. They had like 2 years where they essentially didn't lose.
Yeah. Tavares.
And like it probably isn't as full of
here you go.
Like superstar alumni as you would think.
Okay, so on the 08-09 London Knights, Kadri, John Carlson, John Tavares, Michael Del Zotto, Akeem Aliu was on that team. Zach Ronaldo was on that team.
This is what year? Sorry,
08-09.
That team didn't win.
They
didn't.
Yeah, so and they were good.
They lost
the greatest.
They lost to Ryan Ellis's Windsor Spitfires and Taylor Hall's Windsor Spitfires in the closest series of all time. It was five. It was only 5 games. Knights 1 and 5. All 5 games went to overtime.
Wow.
All 5 games. So if you're a London Knights fan, don't talk about that series.
Yeah.
It hurts your heart. They were a goal away in every single game.
Shoot.
Yeah, those Spits teams were crazy.
They were. Wow. Yeah, it's fun to always kind of go back like 10, 15 years ago and go, oh my God, they all played together? That's crazy. It's no wonder that everybody flipping knows each other in the sport too.
Yeah.
It's like a small group of people.
You were on the Knights, right? Oh, we played together. Oh, I forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah, we
Exactly.
played together for 3 years.
So I think the answer might be the 04-05 London Knights because they won 59 of 68 games.
And that would have been during the NHL lockout.
yes.
So certain guys who would have graduated didn't.
Exactly.
So Corey Perry was on that team, right?
Yeah, that was the Corey Perry, Dave Bolin, Brandon Pruss, Dan Girardi, Dan Servette team.
Okay.
Danny Servette.
That's a team.
is
Wow.
a team.
Okay, so listen, lots to talk about in today's show. Yes, the Leafs had a team meeting. Yes, Brad Treliving came
did
out
they?
and did a second media avail yesterday. And there's lots to chat about. And there's also a bombshell report on Saturday night about Brad Marchand. So we're going to talk about all that, and we're also going to get to some clips about Carlo and Lawton. Some really nice things said about Scott Lawton when he left Philadelphia. So there's lots to talk about in today's show, but we have to start with the biggest drama of the weekend, which of course I feel bad for the guy at this point. It's Mitch Marner. So for anybody that doesn't know, Toronto called Carolina about Mikko Rantanen. Carolina immediately said, well, is Mitch Marner available? Apparently, this is what's been reported. Toronto told Marner's camp that their preference is and has always been to re-sign him, but that Carolina was an option if he wanted to consider it. He said no because he's got a no move.
Yep.
Carolina then asked about Matthew Nyes, and the Leafs said nope. And then Toronto offered Easton Cowan, Fraser Minton, and 2 firsts. Carolina took Dallas's offer of 2 firsts, 2 thirds, and Logan Stankoven, who, by the way, scored yesterday.
Yes, he did. And Mark Jankowski.
And so, yeah, there was a big report out there that the Toronto offer was actually better than Dallas's offer. No, it wasn't. Logan Stankoven is an NHL player. Easton Cowan and Fraser Minton are not. So that's sort of why Dallas won that bidding. Now, there is, there's a lot out there, and I'm going to point to Chris Johnston because he really had this situation sort of put together so well for The Athletic after Friday's show.
Let me give you a good word. He spearheaded it.
Good
and
word. And did a great job on the CJ show kind of summing it up too. He said, I'm going to read direct from the article. You see,
read the whole thing.
The other thing Marner accomplished during his deadline period was sticking to his conviction. The 27-year-old has maintained a desire to push his decisions off about his future off until after the season, and now he officially won't have to entertain what happens next before the final Leafs games are played this spring. Toronto expressed interest in getting down to business on a contract extension in recent months, but the Marner camp is unwilling to engage during the season, according to sources. So, the speculation, guys, has been pretty wild out there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it just comes from, and that's not just fans, that's media too. It's been crazy.
Yep.
What are the feelings on it? How do we feel?
The feeling, this is such uncharted territory for me. I feel like I'm the only person not mad in the entire fan base. And I'll tell you why. I speak English. And Mitch Marner has, in plain English, said what his goals are, said them a long time ago, and he stuck to them. If the Leafs blow it in the playoffs again this year, and Mitch walks, or the Leafs choose not to re-sign him, that's when we'll do the postmortem. That's when I might turn into Yelly Screamy Man a little bit. But when I hear Mitch Marner is not negotiating in season, I'm like, yeah. They said he wasn't gonna. Okay. And then I hear Mitch Marner refuses a trade out of town. I'm like, yeah.
He likes it here.
He likes it here, and he has a no-move clause that kicked it. Remember when I got all mad about Marner's... The Leafs allowed his no-move to kick in,
mm-hmm.
and so many people were like, yeah, but they could still move him. No, you very can't, actually, on account of the English involved. No move clause.
Now,
it's
hold on.
3 words.
I'm going to stop you there.
Why are we struggling?
You're going to act like... Steve, we've seen people wave before.
Yeah, but we know he's not.
Okay. But it is fair to say people have been moved with by waiving no trade clause.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's not doing it.
Okay.
And we've known he's not doing it. And he's in the middle. Like, do we need to be mad about something all the time? Brad's not doing his job. He's not doing his friggin' job. Brad goes out and does a crazy job.
Mm-hmm.
He gets us what we wanted. Third line center, big, mean, right-handed defenseman. And then they lose one game after this report comes out in which Marner has 2 goals. And he gets swarmed like he headbutted a hive of bees. and now it's all bloodlust for this kid. And I'm like, is this the time? Mm-hmm. Is this really the time? I think everyone's... What are we all upset about? New information? It's not. It's not. Like, okay, the fact that he was offered to Carolina is maybe specifically new information. You didn't actually learn anything. He's exercising his no-move clause. He's not negotiating during the season. I thought we already knew this. Are we mad that the thing that's been established didn't change? What are we mad about? Everyone telling me to calm down. Everyone told me to calm down when that no-move kicked in. And I didn't calm down. I let it fly because I knew what it meant to allow that no-move clause to kick in. And now that I've already freaked out, I froked. Way back then.
You done freaked.
I done freaked, and now we're here? No, guys, I spent all that. All that frustration, all that anger, all that voice. I spent it. I said, maybe you should have spent it. Maybe you should have been less calm.
Jesse, how are you feeling about it?
The Toronto Maple Leafs only have themselves to blame for this situation, and Leafs fans should be blaming their own organization for this situation.
Sorry, did you say that live, or is that a clip from when his no-move clause kicked in?
Exactly. Exactly. Like, we've been through this. From years 1 through 4 of the Mitch Marner contract, he did not have a no-movement clause. Those were the years to move off of this mix of players because there was evidence after the 2021 loss to Montreal that the mix wasn't mixing, and after the 2023 loss to Florida was your next opportunity. The 2021 loss, they were reluctant to move off of. They wanted to double down on what they have. Brendan Shanahan and Dubas decided to do that. 2023, they fired the guy while Brendan Shanahan was driving on the Gardner. He decided to fire Kyle Dubas, who was going to make those changes. So there was so much change, they didn't want to make another big change with the core. So those 2 opportunities were the chances for the Leafs to move off of this thing. And once July 1st of 2023 hit, there was no longer an opportunity to move Mitch Marner. And through that entire length of the contract, he was the one to trade. That's the thing that I think people miss about the whole narrative. It wasn't
on purpose.
It wasn't always Mitch Marner. For a long time, the early days of this core, it was William Nylander, who the people wanted to trade. And we forget that. That was a whole era of Leafs.
And at 2023, it could have been either of them.
It could have been either of them. But William Nylander was making so little money. That's the reason that Mitch Marner was the guy. John Tavares makes the same amount as Mitch, and you couldn't get the return that you would want. Plus, he's a center. It made more sense to keep him. Willie made so little money, you wouldn't trade him at 6.9. That's ridiculous. Austin's Austin Matthews, and then Mitch Marner was the piece that you could trade where you get a whole bunch back, plus free up that salary cap. So it always made sense to move off him. That's why people hammered Mitch so much during 1 through 4 when you could trade him. And now we're at a point where you can't do it.
And the drop dead was Nylander signing the 8-year extension.
And then once that happened, it was over.
It's Mitch.
There was only one guy left.
It's Mitch.
Last season, there was only one guy from the time they lost to Boston or to Florida in 2023.
Florida that time.
Till July 1st. Yeah, they made it to the second round.
Marchand's new team.
Woo. That was the only guy you could trade. And the Toronto Maple Leafs organization put themselves in this situation where they're going to allow one of the best players in the league to walk for nothing, and they get nothing unless they do a sign and trade for the 8-year deal and recoup some assets. Or we're in a situation where they just win and everything's happy and you give him what he wants.
It's like going in your phone, ordering Uber Eats, and then when the delivery person shows up at your house, you're like, who the hell is showing up at my house? Get off my property.
So now,
no, you ordered them there. You asked for this. What are you talking about? You're the one who pushed all the buttons.
So now we move forward in a situation where they could just win. and everything's cool.
Yes, and no one...
Mitch, you want $20 million in a statue outside of Scotiabank Arena, just go win a Stanley Cup. Like, we could do that in 3 months from now, and we could all be sitting here as Stanley Cup champions. That's a thing that could happen. Maybe not likely, but it's a thing that could happen. Or they lose in the first round, he walks, and we move away, and this is a new era. And we yell about the era that they just had and everything that went on. We do that then. So
it'll be like
kind of where we're sitting.
It'll be like your video, Phil Kessel and Era Wasted.
Oh, like,
that was a great video.
If Mitch were to leave the Leafs this offseason, I will be able to do a retrospective like Dan Carlin. I will be able to peel through the layers one by one, and this, then this, then this, because this, then this. To me, this story is it's not lazy. The fact that it's a story and it was reported that's just people doing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
People deciding it's the biggest story is just very confusing to me.
Right.
It's not even kind of. It's an amalgamation of two tremendously old stories. He's not negotiating during the season. That was established in the fall. He has a no-move clause, and he plans on exercising it. We established this 2 summers ago. Guys,
so
is anyone actually paying attention?
Well, so the speculation got nuts. And so Brad Treliving, it's so funny. The Leafs had a meeting Sunday morning to talk about their shitty play, and we'll talk about that later.
They're playing shitty.
They had a meeting with Berube. Players spoke up. We could talk about that a little bit more a little later. But when Brad Treliving...
Do you want to go to Mitch and then Brad?
Sure, let's go to Mitch first.
That's chronological.
Yeah. Let's go to Mitch first because I know he doesn't want to talk about this.
But they asked the fucking guy.
Yeah, they asked him. Poor guy. All right, here we go.
Here's Mitch, post-game Colorado, Mitch Marner, fielding questions.
That game sort of go for you guys tonight?
We gave that team a lot of offensive chances, a lot of rush chances. I think, in the second, we just got to be better with our pucks, better with our play. Sucks.
What did you make of the 2 new guys tonight? How they fit in?
Yeah, great. I mean, it's obviously hard, traveling late last night into a new system, new group of guys, but I thought they came in and played great. New system for both of them. So, I was happy with how they played. I thought they, just went out there and did their thing.
And there are multiple reports out there that you were asked to waive your no-trade part of the contract talk, et cetera. How are you handling all that? What's going on? What you can tell us?
I'm here to play hockey with this team. That's what I can tell you. I want to be with this team. I want to play with this team. So,
how do you handle the uncertainty that comes with this season?
Sorry?
How do you handle the uncertainty that comes with?
I got a great sports staff. I got a great group of guys in this room as well that I can lean on. So, but off the ice, I got a great sports staff that I can lean into a lot, talk to a lot, and just hockey. I just go out there and do my thing.
Are you willing to negotiate in season? Or are you waiting?
I talked to you guys at the start of the year. I'm not going to get into this. I'm here to play hockey. Let that happen with my agent and the team, and I'm here to play hockey and do my thing.
Did it surprise you at all when you were approached yesterday?
I wasn't focused on it. I'm sure that I had a feeling that maybe something might happen, but I'm here to play hockey with this team, like I said, and I'm focused with this team, and that's what I can tell you.
Does it mean something to you that little team obviously is eager to get something done?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm like I just said, I'm just here to do my thing on that ice. I'm trying to help this team win games and do the best I can out there. So that's where my mind's at. It's not off ice. It's not off anything else.
Do you envision yourself being at Leaf next season?
Like I talked to you guys, man, I'm not going to get into any of this contract stuff. I've been very grateful, and I've loved my time being a Leaf, so that's why I'll leave it with you guys. And, we got like 20 games left here that aren't going to be easy. We got to make sure we just keep our foot down on the gas here and give ourselves the best position to go into playoffs.
Are you curious about what Utah's all about as a hockey market?
All right, that's the last question on the.
Are you curious what Utah's all about as a hockey market?
Yeah, they go back into just regular ass questions.
Because I guess it's their first visit.
Yeah, they're going to Utah the first time tonight. What happened? Why did you barf for something?
I spit on Jesse's computer.
Oh, did you have a burp that got away from you?
No. He made me laugh.
Oh,
Mitch did. And you spit up everywhere.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Make me laugh. I'm sorry.
I can't even remember exactly what it was, but he's just.
No,
it's not funny, but
it was this
he's
question.
so mad.
It was this question.
Yeah.
Does it fill you with anything, like any good emotion, basically, that the Leafs want you?
And he's like,
yeah, I guess.
yeah, sure. Listen, I am completely on his side here.
That is about as patient as you can be, by the way. That was patient. That was, guys, we've already talked about this. And they're like, cool. Anyway, here's 5 more questions about it.
They're doing their job.
100%. But I'm just saying, I'm not, listen, I'm the last guy to blame the media on that. I think everybody's doing their job there. I think Mitch is doing his job. He wasn't short. He wasn't abrupt. He wasn't anything. I think he just was like, guys, listen, I can't talk about it. And yeah, sure, I'm pumped they want me here.
It causes him physical pain, like, to do these media avails after losses. And a voice in my head was like, you know what? Stop putting mics in his face. It's mean. And then I was like, you know what? Nope. You wear a letter for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You make $10.9 million. Find it. Whatever you got to do, find it. And then he did. He did. I'm on his side here because he's saying what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. This is not new information, fellas. Mm-hmm. Told you this. I want to be here. I'm not negotiating during the season. No, I don't want to be traded. Do you have any other questions?
No, but like asking him, were you surprised that they approached you? I think that's a very interesting question.
I think it's a great question.
I feel like there were a lot of things in there that were warranted. Being a player and being like, hey, do you want to get traded? Your team coming to you asking that? I'd love to know what Mitch Marner's feelings on that are.
Sorry, to be clear, like, it's not about the question.
It's not about the questions.
It's the reaction to it. The questions are because of the reaction. Like, I feel like this broke while I was driving to London, which was like 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And by the time I got there, it was the biggest story in hockey Twitter. And I was just very taken back by that.
Fever pitch. I think it's because people weren't expecting the fact that the Leafs would go to him with Carolina.
Why not? They've
asking.
done it before, didn't they?
Well, I think they had to ask because they want to say, like, I think there's 2 things going on.
Okay.
Number one, if you listen to some of the breakdowns of the Mikko Rantanen stuff, when Colorado and Mikko didn't have no trade protection.
He had a 9 team.
No, a 9 team.
Yes.
Colorado went and said, "Hey, would you consider a trade to Carolina?" And he was like, and he thought it was a pressure tactic. And so he said, "Well, sure, I would consider signing there."
Well, that's dumb.
And then of course they traded him.
Who told him? Who gave him the advice that it was?
Because that happens all the time behind the scenes as a pressure tactic for teams. Now, in that particular case, Colorado had more cards in their favor than the Leafs do. So that pressure tactic makes sense.
Is it that when they signed Rantanen into the contract, they were smart and didn't give him a full no move?
You might say that, Jess. You might say that.
And if they had, they probably would have moved him before it kicked in.
Now, Steve's right.
Often am.
Steve was right in that we drove down to London and it felt like you're in one universe. You get to London and it's a completely different one because of how this story broke.
And like, I listened to CJ break it on the CJ show.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, that's a spicy meatball. I bet we'll talk about that on the pod when we get there.
Yep. And so
it's the biggest thing in the universe.
And it was so spicy that Brad Treliving, who does like 4 or 5 media avails all year, he did one, and we're gonna play some of his media avail post trade deadline later on in the show.
The whole thing. It's 90 seconds.
Yeah. Oh no. I'm talking about his Friday press conference. That we will play clips from. This we're gonna play, as Jesse said, all 90 seconds of it because Brad was like, you know what, I got to go out in front. And this is before practice, right? Like this is what they were practicing, and he's like, I better go talk to the media. Here's what he had to say.
Don't make it a point of doing a return date here, but just to respond to some of the reporting from yesterday with regards to Mitch, I'm not going to get into any questions. You guys, we talked about it the other day with regards to contracts and the business side of it. We're not going to get into it. Other than Mitch, we're aligned with Mitch, right? We're worried about this season. We're worried about the games we have coming up. We want Mitch here for a long time, but it's not a distraction. But like I said, we think the world of him, right? And but it's just not a question we're going to get into every day. We've dealt with it here. We move forward.
Good.
We want Mitch here. we're all focused on the next. What do we got? 19 to go. So I just wanted to come and address you on it, so you don't have to track me down, and we'll move on. Okay.
He got 2 goals. What do you like about how he's handled it?
Well, everything. We like everything about Mitch. And there's always, we talked about at the beginning of the year, we're going to try to handle the business side away from it, but I think he's handled everything extremely well. But that's where the focus is right now. And I get it. You guys have jobs to do and totally respect that. But I just wanted to make sure that we're, we came out, addressed it, and I support Mitch 1,000%, and he's not out here on an island with us. We're trying to worry about winning hockey games.
Yeah.
Amen. Would you go out and you spent Grabenkin, who everyone loves, and Minton, who everyone loves, and 2 first-round picks to try to win a Stanley Cup this season? Hell yeah.
Do you believe him when he says it's not a distraction?
No. Because he's talking, and he wouldn't be if it wasn't.
I think he's trying to prevent it from becoming more of a distraction.
Yeah,
but I don't think you do impromptu press conferences as a general manager before practice if something isn't a distraction.
But I agree with him being like, yeah, we're not going to do this every day.
Totally.
Guys, he said he wasn't going to negotiate during the season. He's exercised his no move clause. All right, you got Utah tonight. Try to beat him. We did this. Summer 2023. We did this.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it again.
I checked in with somebody about this who, or checked in with a few people to try to
Mitch Marner.
Try to get understanding.
Baron Darris.
I was you know me. We're real tight. I checked in with a few people because it was like, okay, help me understand. Like we did. Alan obviously is not going to comment on this, but we did a whole podcast on no trade clauses and under what circumstances does a general manager approach representation about waiving one. And so that show is already out. So you can listen to that. And it was really interesting. All I wanted Alan to do essentially was run me through the processes or whatever. But in checking with people, here's what I was told. And this is very simple. He told the Leafs at the beginning of the year that,
when was the beginning of the year?
Beginning of the season.
Beginning of the season. Months and months ago?
September, October.
Got it.
He had earned the right to go to free agency, and he was not going to waive his no trade. He will go to free agency.
Yes.
He will go to free agency. He's going to test the market.
Okay.
End of story. He not going to negotiate till summer, wants to focus on the season. And by the way, here's 2 examples that I was given by people who said, hey, one worked for the team and one didn't. Stamkos did the same thing years ago. 2016, Toronto tried to sign him. He stayed in Tampa.
Yep.
Tavares, the next year, did the same thing. He signed in Toronto. Yep. So it can go either way. Was told loves Toronto, but he doesn't want to negotiate, wants to go on this playoff run. Wife's pregnant. He wants to kind of get through all that stuff and then figure it out. So it's simple. And I don't know... I feel like we need to turn the temperature back down on this story a little bit because I think there were reasons in the past because the negotiating in 2018, 2019 was done through the press. It was. And that was frustrating.
Infuriating.
And the way that was handled. But it's very clear that from the Leafs perspective, and I guess from Mitch's representation as well, that they both said, let's not do that again. That didn't work out well for anybody. Let's keep it as quiet as possible. And until Friday, it was. It's rarely been a topic of conversation on this show.
It's part of the reason for what we're seeing today. They handled 2019 so poorly.
Yep.
And they got what they wanted out of the negotiation monetarily, but it came at a cost.
Yeah. Well, so in talking to the people that I talked to about it this weekend, I feel like if you're going to be mad, if you really need to be mad, there are 2 people to be mad at. One of them's running the Penguins. And one of them is in the last few months of his current deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The guy running the Penguins sure seemed like he was going to make a deal and then got fired.
Well, or you can, but you can even get upset about the fact that both of those guys, and I'm talking about Dubas and Shanny, signed off on a contract with a no move clause in the last 2 years of the deal.
Dan, that's crazy. I bet that other guy you mentioned, what was his name? He probably paid with his job. He's probably not with the Leafs anymore.
Well, he might not be. We'll see how this spring goes. But
he's still there.
Yeah.
He's still there.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Why didn't anything fundamentally change? Man, we'll never know.
So this is the thing. I think that's sort of the story, right? Have we hit the story? Is the story hit? Is there anything else?
I think we've spent too much time on it.
Well, let's get to the
like
wow, you don't like my topic selection, huh?
No. Sorry. I'm not saying that as a criticism to you. Like, no, it is. It's the biggest story in Leafland right now.
The biggest story in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, and
it shouldn't be.
And well, I think the Bruins one's pretty big, but
yeah, where we got that, that's crazy.
I think the Marner one is bigger.
What you know what? No, it is. It's somewhat personal for me, just because a lot of people thought my attitudes towards Mitch in the summer of 2023 were unfair, and they weren't. It's simply I was paying attention, and I'm cool on what's happening right now. I'm not jumping all over him like a lot of other people are, because I'm paying attention. I paid attention. Please show your work. Please do your assignments. Please. We've known all of this for a long time. The kid's in the middle of the best best season of his career.
He's not a kid. He's about to be a father.
I know that.
Which is crazy too, because we've watched him grow up.
Oh, and that changes you.
It does.
You know, I'm excited for him in that regard. It's changed me. I love it. I love this chapter of my life. But this has been long established. He's not negotiating during the season, and he's got a no move that he's willing to exercise. The one thing I'll say, and I've already said this, but again, to me, it's a you say it and then you move on, and it's a topic for the off season. You either really, really want to stay here and be a Leaf for life, or you want the biggest payday you can get. I don't think the Leafs can allow themselves to be like, we're going to be the highest bidder.
Well, and James Myrtle said that in The Athletic. He said Mitch will be given two choices on July 1st. He'll be given the biggest numbers from other clubs.
Okay.
Or he'll be given a very strong number by Toronto. And some people have speculated that the number Toronto already either prepared or tried to offer him, even though his camp said we're not negotiating. Toronto may still have made an offer anyway or thrown a number out there.
You can text people and they can not respond.
Yeah, it might be. From what I've understood or from what we've heard, it's probably higher than what Mikko Rantanen signed for in Dallas already. Now there's tax implications and stuff. But my point is that he will not get the biggest number from Toronto this summer, and it'll come down to what fit, what situation works best plus the number. And I think if he signs in Toronto, you can be pretty sure that it will be less money than what he was offered elsewhere. Like that's what it'll be. And for everybody that's like, well, he should sign here because he'll get the 8th year. I don't get any sense that Mitch Marner cares about an 8-year contract right now.
He can't do it once 11:59 on June 30th.
That's my point.
If he's going to free agency, then he can't do the 8th year at all.
And that's what I think is
if he re-signs in Toronto.
That's why I don't
July 1st. I'm just saying that for the audience who doesn't know how the contract works.
That's why I think, Jesse, though, to that point, I don't think that's a leverage point for Toronto. I don't think that's a priority for him.
No, what Toronto?
Because I think that he probably goes, I'll sign 3 to 5 years wherever I sign, and then I'll get another contract after that.
Toronto has the one thing all those other teams, all 31 other teams don't have, and that's being Toronto. This is where you grew up. If this is where you want to play forever, if this is where you want to put your roots down so that you don't have to have 2 lives, which I know some players find exhausting. Great. We're the only team that can do that for you.
Mm-hmm.
No other team can do that for you. I don't know. That's it.
Oh, so the team's pretty good.
Yeah, team's pretty good.
Team's a pretty good team.
Mitch Marner also turned down more money the last time he signed in Toronto on this current deal. Columbus was willing to offer him the sun and the moon at the time, an offer sheet, and you have to accept an offer sheet to get offer sheeted, and he did not accept the offer sheet from Columbus, so he did turn down more money in that instance, but the Leafs still did overpay in the end based on the world ending and the contract and all that fun stuff. So we'll see where it ends up.
So we'll leave it there. That's the story. It's so much less salacious than it's being made out to be, I think. And I think that was the thing going into today. It was like, okay, I'm prepping this story, and it's like, well, that's a whole lot less exciting than what it's being made out to be.
If you look at it like Marner prevented this, Marner prevented that, you're wrong. You're just wrong. They knew this was coming. They had months and years even to prepare for that no move clause kicking in. They let it kick in. Do you enjoy your monster, Dr. Frankenstein?
There you go.
And it's not true that they had years. Only one person had the years, and that's Brendan Shanahan.
Yep.
Kyle Dubas was fired at year 4.
That's the birth.
Brad Treliving got here with the no move clause.
I just got here.
Well, and he would have had less than a week, to Jesse's point.
It was like 5 weeks.
No, when Brad Treliving was still unpacking his things from Calgary is when the no move clause kicked in. So he's not to blame for not making something happen when that was in. It was Shanahan.
So let me tell you, I'll give you a date. Okay. Brad Treliving was not allowed to start in Toronto until after the first round of the 2023 draft. Remember?
Wasn't that just for the draft?
No, he wasn't allowed to. He was not allowed to start until after that.
Oh.
So the draft was held on June 28th and June 29th. You have 3 days to make a call. That's too big of a call to make in that short of a time.
I bet the guy who made that decision was fired.
It's crazy how there's one guy, though, who is kind of the ultimate decision maker who was here the entire time.
Yes.
And is well versed in these players in this team.
Who takes all of the trades, free agent signings, all that to the board to get approved.
Yeah, and can give a thumbs up or thumbs down on big trades and big moves. So,
I grant you that.
Yeah.
That's a spicy position.
You know what's going to be great is when Shanahan gets gassed and the team acts like there's no one left to be mad at. No way, we all just got here. All right. We have to answer for it? Yes, you do. Kiss my ass.
This is Biden's economy.
Yeah. Oh my God. We learned nothing ever.
Can I ask you guys what you think happens on July 1st through 5th when Mitch Marner is a free agent?
I get a lifelong Advil sponsorship to work off my hangover from the Cup parade.
Where does he sign his next contract? In October, when the puck drops on the new season, where's Mitch Marner playing?
Toronto.
Okay.
I think Toronto, he signs an 8-year, $100 million contract.
He can't do 8 years unless it's...
Yeah.
It's going to get done before.
Hey.
So I don't believe that.
The positivity, Steve.
I think we're going to free agency. And I think he's going to listen.
Goodbye.
And I
if
think
he gets that far, goodbye.
I keep saying 3 to 5 years, and I'm going to say 12 and a half. 3 to 5 years, 12 and a half. That's what I think.
That'd be good.
And I think it's going to be here, but the Leafs are going to have to know very quickly because, as I mentioned on Saturday night, there are some other very interesting prospects out there, including Toronto's own Sam Bennett, who the Leafs do look very favorably on, and that would be a very interesting position to put themselves in because you got Scott Lawton next year at $1.5 million. You got David Kampf at $2.5 million. You could then add Sam Bennett, and then do you move if you do that, you're probably looking at deploying the money in a completely different way than you ever have before. Meaning Tavares and Marner could be gone.
That's why you have to be like, Mitch, we need a decision by this day. Or thank you, and move on.
And it's like what Eric Tulsky mentioned in his press conference for the Carolina Hurricanes. He said, we wanted to make other moves with those picks that they were given, but we couldn't because we had to wait for Rantanen and Dallas to sort it out.
You cannot put yourself in that position.
You can't put yourself in that position. You gotta set that deadline earlier in the day and go, okay, do it, or we're taking the next available deal.
Yep. And it's nothing personal, and there's no anger in it. It's just, hey, man, we got business to conduct. So what? The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to sit there with like $20 million in unused cap? I don't think so.
Yeah. I also think if you're an NHL franchise and you're not at least planning somewhat for Kaprizov and McDavid to be free agents in 2026, you're not doing your job. And maybe it's Oilers fans, I know, Wild fan, I know you don't want to hear that, but if you're any of the other 30 franchises, if you're not doing that, you shouldn't be here. You should be fired. And you should be going, okay, cap's going to be 107. What's 20% of 107? I'll give it to either of them. Probably, well, McDavid, I think, is going to make $20 million a year, and I think he's going to deserve it.
That's so cool.
Shouldn't you plan for that? Shouldn't you make decisions for that?
Yeah.
I think you should.
Totally.
So I think that's going to be weighed on, and I wonder if Toronto says on July 1st, listen, Mitch, we need to know by this time. Otherwise, we're going different directions because, you've got $26 million that they're going to have available to them this offseason, at least at this point. 22 of that are Mitch Marner and John Tavares expiring. So, you can deploy that in a lot of different ways.
Sure you can.
And there's teams with $40, $50 million to spend this offseason.
Isn't that crazy? Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's you just need your answer before the clock strikes. You do not sign that player as a UFA.
Wow. So you don't think so? Because I think he's going. I think no matter what, he's testing.
Take care.
Wow. Okay. See, I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't say that. I would wait and I would go July 1st. I need to know by this hour. Here's our final offer, just so you know. And you've got Toronto's got the advantage. You can say to him, listen, Mitch, we're going to give you this offer tomorrow.
It never feels like Toronto has the advantage in anything. Continue.
You could at least talk to him, right? Whereas other teams can't. Here's what our offer is going to be. You know what it is. I need to know by when's free agency kickoff? Like noon?
Noon.
Yeah. I need to know by 12:30. I need to know
Absolutely not.
I need to know by 12:15.
No, because here's what's going to do. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to be sitting here July 1st, and we're going to be like, all right, they're waiting for an answer on Mitch, and Bennett's gone, and this guy's gone, and this guy's gone, and this guy's gone, and this guy's gone, and Mitch is going to Columbus.
But Steve, they can't start talking until noon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna get real passionate about friggin' tampering. No,
I do want to throw this at you.
Everything is gonna happen in that half hour. It always
got
does.
A good point.
Mitch's agent is the same one as Sam Bennett's agent too, so they could just call the same guy.
Oh, cool, great.
That probably hurt the negotiations, I assume. Adam, you said something interesting about 3 to 5 years. If I was Mitch Marner, I'd signed a 2-year contract.
I agree with you.
Like I would try and triple cash in because you count this contract and then this one you're about to sign for 2 years. And then when the salary cap is like $40 million higher than it is right now, I would try and cash in again.
Completely.
Like I would do a 2-year deal with the Leafs for 12 and a half or whatever it is, and then get my $15 million contract for 8 years in 2 years from now.
And you, Jesse, I completely agree with that. You have to look at how the NBA players handled this in the mid 2010s. When that TV rights deal kicked in and they made an absolute fortune and the salary cap went up, what is it, $40 million in year over year? It was
increase, yes.
Yeah, the increase of the salary cap was insane in the NBA. And those guys, like LeBron was just signing rolling 1-year contracts with the Cleveland Cavaliers so he could make the max money. And I think if you're players like that, we're seeing also, too, teams pitch draft picks out the door because they know if I got holes, I could probably buy them in free agency, especially if you're a really good team. So I don't know.
It'd be smart of Mitch to do that, I think, if you're trying to maximize dollars.
Yep, I agree.
Well, so he's only got like 68, 69 million. So.
Oh, don't do that.
Every dollar counts.
That's not
every little bit counts.
No.
Hey, Steve, I'm going to take away a couple $1 million out of your bank account.
I know.
That's
and
it's a different
Steve,
perspective.
I know you, and I know me, and I wouldn't be okay with that.
Yeah,
I don't think you would be either.
I know.
How much is too much? I don't know. I'll find out when I get there.
No.
Levels
but people play the boneheaded hits, and what are you cheering for the billionaires for? Fuck you. You're being so disingenuous.
That's me, by the way.
There is no little guy. There's no little guy here.
I mean, there are littler people.
Yeah.
Okay,
if you're
fine.
painting millionaires and billionaires with the same brush, that's not
okay.
fair.
Well, the cap doesn't exist then. Don't worry about it. I hope he gets 20. I hope he gets 25.
He's gonna get huge offers. The offers will be huge. Like Tavares was gonna make $13 million in San Jose,
and the first huge offer he gets will be from the Leafs before July 1st. And then we'll all have a Merry Christmas.
I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. They'll probably make one final offer and go, this is the number. This is what it'll be tomorrow, too.
Oh, that's going to be a stressful few days, man. Like between the draft and free agency. Shit. I mean, it's going to be content Christmas, but it's definitely going to be stressful for Leaf fans, I think, unless they've just won the cup.
And then it's like, hey, man.
Then it's wee. Hey, where'd you sign? I like it there, too. It's all good.
Now that we have exhausted the Mitch Marner content, okay?
I don't need to talk about it until the offseason.
Let's take the temperature back down. Let's leave the topic in the dust, and let's focus on winning the division. But first, the BetMGM big story. If Alexander Ovechkin scores 9 goals tomorrow night versus the Ducks, he will beat Wayne Gretzky's record for most goals in the season. If Alexander Ovechkin scores 4.5 goals.
Jesse, it's the post-deadline Ducks.
4.5 goals against the Ducks and another 4.5 against the Kings. He will beat Wayne Gretzky.
The old split the puck in half goal.
If he gets 3 hat tricks in 3 consecutive games, a hat trick in a hat trick of games, he will beat Gretzky's record versus the Sharks March 15th. And if we get it down to, let's say, 1 goal a game, we're looking at March 27th or March 30th versus the Wild or the Sabres. Now, CJ, I think, has been talking about he thinks it's going to be early April. The way it's going now, Alexander Ovechkin might pass Gretzky before March ends. And that's pretty unbelievable.
Man, there are some goal-tastic games on that schedule that you just laid out.
Here's now the Ducks have great goaltending.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
They have bad everything else, but great goaltending. But it's improving. The Kings are a very good team. Then you got the Sharks, who are improving. Capitals again. So this is, sorry, Capitals again. Jeez. They use the other. Red Wings, Flyers, Panthers, Jets, Wild, Sabres, and then Bruins April 1st. It would be fun if it happened against the Bruins because, frankly, Boston, I apologize, but we are going to have to kick you while you're down. I think more than likely, though, this happens. Like, he seems to want to get this done the way he's playing.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what I think is happening?
What do you think is happening?
I think he's watching the games played total. Because if he does it within 22 games, that means he will pass Gretzky's mark quicker than Gretzky hit his mark.
Ooh, so that matters.
I think it matters to him. So, like, it's not that he's just trying to run out the clock and eventually, if we play enough games, I'll get it and blah, 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 blah. I think he's truly trying to do it faster than Gretzky. So Gretzky did it in 1,487 games, and Alexander Ovechkin has played 1,474 games. So 23 game difference. So I think he's trying to do it within that 22 game mark so that he can say, I reached 887 faster, or 895 faster than Gretzky. 894.
He is obviously not going to play forever.
Maybe.
Gretzky's final season in the NHL, he had 9 goals. If Ovi played until the wheels fell off, could he hit 1,000?
I think so.
He's not gonna.
Three more years. 3 more years of 30 goals. Why not?
By
you telling me he can't do that?
Probably not 30.
I don't know. That's what we said a couple of years ago.
All right.
Every time we're like, he'll slow down.
Yeah.
Ovi speeds up.
And the Caps are good. And they're good for the foreseeable future, right? So and as these young guys in the lineup start to take on bigger roles, his role doesn't have to be as large. He just can score goals, man.
Be the cannon on the power play. And empty netter god, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's fun to watch. It is fun to watch. I hope he does it in less games.
He'll be 40 in September.
I think he can do it.
Played
1,000 games.
1,000? I don't think so.
1,000 goals. 1,000 goals. Do it.
I don't think
he could.
Okay. Now,
I don't think so.
Do you think, I'm just going to ask you before or after question, because it is the BetMGM big story. Happens before April 1st or on or after? Again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games and 9 goals to go. Before April 1st.
The childlike wonder in me says before. The adult realist in me who actually has to put their money down on this is going to say after.
So you're saying after. Jesse.
My game has always been April 10th against the Carolina Hurricanes, so I will not stray from that. I think he does it that game at home, so that's my pick. So after April 1st.
I want it to happen before, so I'm going to say Sabres March 30th. He's just going to go for it. And
9 goals in a game.
9 goals in one game. He's not going to score until then, but then 9 goals.
The Sabres should have some dignity and just call someone up from the ECHL.
Just let him do it.
Just let it happen.
All right, so that is your BetMGM big story for today. Go to betmgm.com/dangle for terms and conditions. So, we talked a lot about the Leafs. Well, actually, not really about the Leafs. We talked a lot about Mitch Marner.
One person.
Let's talk about the fact that, again, and despite having some shaky game play on Saturday night, the Leafs added 2 big players, and they got the third line center they were after. They got the right shot defenseman they were after. I think in the right shot defenseman department, way better than we could have thought. I was not holding out hope for Brandon Carlo in the lead. Didn't even factor into my thinking.
Well, and then when we did hear Brandon Carlo, I'm like, welp, Easton Cowan's a Bruin. It's Minton, and I don't love that, but I definitely thought it was Cowan.
You have to give to get.
Yes.
Now, Jesse, can we play a little bit of what Brad Treliving had to say on Friday? This is the first press conference. Take this to 340.
Just the profile of him, he's big, he's long, great stick, defends the blue paint really well, excellent on the penalty kill, tremendous character, and talking both to him and Donnie today, he's been a big part of the success that's gone on in Boston, and they've had a lot of it. But he's been on our radar for a long, long time. Is there salary being?
So that was what they had to say about him. It was kind of a little bit generic. I was hoping for more, but I did like his Scott Laughton answer, and that one is the one I want to bring up next because it's going to segue into something else where you're gonna want to. Are you ready for this? Hug John Tortorella.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm setting you up to want to hug John Tortorella.
Am I going to get punched?
No. This is heartwarming stuff. Okay, Jesse, go ahead. Here's
I mean, Josh, you look at all that. That is a piece of it. Like you're looking for real good players, but I always find that good character people tend to follow success, and success follows them. Listen, I've been watching Scotty Laughton since he was in Oshawa, and he's been a captain wherever he goes. You look and see some of the things being said about him in Philly today, leaving. Just a character guy, and I can tell you, as hard as it was for him, he's been a Flyer his whole life. He was emotional talking about coming home playing for the Leafs. So he's excited. I know that was a really important chapter in his life in Philly, but he's excited to start one here. Were you surprised?
So he's got 10 out of 10 passion levels, which is key. Brad said something there, and I was like, well, that's interesting. What did they say about him in Philly? So I was able to dig up this clip about John Tortorella, and this is what John Tortorella had to say before Scott Laughton was even traded. Because everybody kind of knew it was coming, but
you think,
but
the Last Supper picture,
but like Andrei Kuzmenko had just been traded, and Torts hadn't even been briefed on that yet. So you're talking. That's where the timeline is. Here's what Torts had to say about Scott Laughton.
A good friend of mine. We've talked quite a bit this morning. I think it's worn on him a little bit. I think there's been some struggles in his game, and I guess rightfully so, with all the stuff flying around him and his family. But that, like I told him this morning, no matter what happens here today, if you're still with us or you're not, our relationship's always going to be our relationship. That'll never go away. And quite honestly, at the end of the day, when you're done coaching or playing, those are the most important things. That's going to be a guy that I truly respect and love. That is always going to be part of me.
There you go. We'll leave it there. So that's pretty big. Those are big words from John Tortorella.
I would imagine him and Laughton will be like texting over the next couple months. I think there's a lot of there's more inter-team communication than you think. Like people asking for advice from. I mean, technically, you have 31 teams full of enemies.
Yeah.
When you take the ice, but that's not how it always shakes out, especially when, one team doesn't make the playoffs and the other does. It's good to give shine to this because we only ever talk about John Tortorella when he's mad. Mm-hmm. And those were some very gentle, kind words for Scott Laughton, who I believe there was a death in his family recently.
Yes, there was. Yeah.
And it's always hard. It's always hard. So this has probably been a very stressful season for him and a stressful couple months, and hopefully, now that the trade deadline's over and he doesn't have to wonder anymore, he's able to get his feet under him.
Jesse, one of the things that obviously was it seems to be the thing that the Leafs want us to focus on the most is the character element of this. Clearly that they're focused on that. What do you think about Brad talking about who these guys were as people? Because obviously you have to like what they do on the ice first, but it sort of seemed to be something that was noticeable in his answers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's something to focus on because they haven't played any games yet. When he was talking, on Friday, you're bringing in two guys who are going to fit in the room. That's always a question with the Leafs, because they have such a, I think, distinct dressing room dynamic where who the personalities are who are going to drive the play on and off the ice. So getting guys who are going to fit in that, I always think matters with the Leafs because of their unique dressing room. So I feel like they got some good guys who will fit in. Now it's about, can they also perform on the ice?
Right. And if you haven't noticed, the Leafs have played like shit lately. So they have
actually legit played like shit.
They had a meeting. It was first reported that it was after the game Saturday. Now it appears it was Sunday morning. But Berube took them all aside and was very frustrated with, according to Luke Fox, their defensive mistakes and lack of focus. And apparently multiple players are said to have spoken up during the meeting as well, that they needed to get their shit together.
Good.
And this follows a couple of weeks ago where I believe they had another one where the captains kind of stepped up and said, okay, we're not playing well.
It's a bit of a baptism by fire for Laughton and Carlo. Like, holy shit. First game.
I just got here.
First game with a new team, and you already have a meeting. But established precedents, man. Listen, the Leafs, this is like what, a 3-game not even skid? I think they've picked up points. The standard's up. It's up. And winning this division is a very important thing. There are no easy matchups in the Stanley Cup playoffs. However, if given the choice between the Lightning, the Panthers, or any of the teams in that wild card picture right now, you probably pick the teams in the wild card picture, which means you still have games to win. And you got Utah tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing awesome.
Juuso Valimaki, by the way, they just announced will be out 8 to 9 months after an ACL tear.
Oh,
so he just had surgery. Yeah. They've had a lot of bad injuries this year.
So, Jesus, he's not going to be back till Christmas.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Utah's not doing great. You better right the ship before Thursday when you play the Panthers in what is essentially a mini-series. You play them 3 times before the end of the season. I don't know what horrible thing you did in a past life where you earned that. But, if you have any hopes of finishing ahead of the Panthers, you can't lose that series.
Yeah, you got to win.
You got to at least have 3 points versus 3 points. Is that even possible? I don't think that's even possible. Win 2 or 3, for God's sake. You got to win the series. You have to win that series.
And hope it doesn't go to overtime, too.
This is the most important season for the Leafs in this era for them to win the division. Because, like you said, but I think this year, because especially the wild card teams really shouldn't scare you. They should be teams you want to face, and your other option is the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's 6 really good teams in the East right now, and New Jersey's kind of teetering with all of their injuries, but I still count them as one of the really good teams. And then you have 2 of Ottawa, New York, or Columbus who are going to sneak in there in those 2 wildcard spots. And those should be really good matchups for the Leafs. And if you don't win the division, you get Tampa. And that's your other option. And that's crazy. So every loss here matters down the stretch. And the The Leafs were able to take advantage of, I think, a spread out schedule early on in the season to rack up a whole bunch of points. And now that things are getting crunched down the end of the season with Four Nations taking up so much of the season, everything's kind of smushed together to end it. They're kind of faltering, and they can't falter at all. And I'm worried about this end of the season if they don't win that division in facing Tampa.
So you got that schedule open, and I'm looking at it. Like, well, I don't know what sociopath booked the Vegas, Colorado, Utah road trip. Then the Leafs are finally at home, but the road trip, the homestand ends with a back-to-back that then puts them on another mini road trip. You're home for one game. Then you go back to California. Mm-hmm. And I'm really struggling to feel bad for them.
California, where we will be.
Yes.
Watching those games.
That's right.
Yeah, well, at least the San Jose one.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, it's the National Hockey League.
Yeah.
Like,
the point is about the schedule is you got to win. Who cares what the schedule is? Win the games.
They've looked tired recently, and they're going to have to find a way to not be tired.
It's not an excuse.
The schedule does not slow down, as we established.
And there's so little games left. 19 games, I think Treliving said. 19 games left for them. Like, Florida's won 6 in a row. You have to compete with that.
Can you skip ahead to April? Just because I'm noticing the Leafs only have 19 games left. They have 3 games left versus Florida. Only one of them's in March.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the end of the season, psycho.
Yeah, the end of the season goes a little later than typically because of Four Nations, where they're playing up till April 17th. But a lot of games left, or not a lot of games left, and they need to win a whole bunch of them to win that division.
They got a Tampa, Florida back-to-back.
It's tough.
Yeah.
But it's National Hockey League and things don't stop. And they might even get passed by Tampa, who are 1 point behind them in the exact same amount of games played. And you don't want to have that Game 7 on the road in Tampa. Like, this is a really important stretch here to win all these games and win this division.
It's nice to even talk about winning the division, because in the past we're like, well, I sure hope they get home ice advantage. Like,
it's like
we were never
Valentine's
talking
Day.
about winning the division.
And you're like, whoop. They're not going to do that, but maybe if they get hot at the right time.
Yeah,
no, it's just exhausting.
No, you want to try to put yourself in the best position possible. And by the way, if they get out of the first round and you've won the division, chances are you're also in the second round home ice advantage. It matters more than just the first series.
Yes,
and so let's hope that tonight they make something of it, because we are going to find out. I know they're exhausted. I know they've barely been home. Games don't stop.
2 days off and you're playing a reeling team that's not in the playoffs. Win
the game. Goaltending's been a little less than I think ideal the last couple of games too. Joseph Wall had a soft game. Stolarz, I think, had a soft game against Colorado. Now, Colorado's got some A-class shooters.
They got A-class shooters, and the Leafs are hemorrhaging chances.
Yeah.
They're giving up a lot of shots and a lot of chances. It's a testament to how crazily efficient their offense is that they were even in that game, right? They made Blackwood look absolutely terrible. Colorado's playing like near perfect hockey, and the Leafs have 4 goals on the board.
Yeah.
It's got to be frustrating. In fact, I know it was, because producer Drew was texting me, and I refused to talk crap because I was like, they still might blow it. And then they did.
Yeah.
So I was glad I banked that goodwill. Just kidding, Drew.
He dunked on you throughout the entire LFR. It was great.
It was good. It's like he was there.
It also kind of goes to show the value of Chris Tanev.
Fuck. Yeah, they need him. They need him.
Just a little.
But here's what's crazy. They don't have him right now, so win some hockey games.
I want to talk again quickly, guys, about Morgan Reilly.
Boo.
We have to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be I don't want to jump on somebody when they're down, but the play is really not good. And it's to the point now where, and this is just in my own head, I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to skip ahead to the offseason, but since we're here, is that a player that they go, I think we gotta look at making a change here?
You got to look at it. I do think you have to look at
unless the play, because remember, he didn't have a great 2023 either, but then the playoffs hit and he was an animal.
Yep. I mean, there's how many, let me ask you this, if you're a Leaf fan, how many players on this team do you even want back if they lose in the first round?
Well,
what are you preserving?
Everybody will be mad.
No, I hope this guy's back and this guy's back. Why? What are you preserving? their identity is they lose always. I'm sure there's a couple guys. Well, I'd like to keep him. Oh, okay, you get two. You get two. What is it? Service dog players, security,
Keepers?
whatever. Yeah, that's it. What are you preserving? Now, if they win and they go on this great run, cool, great. But if they lose yet again, I don't see the point in keeping nearly anybody.
Jesse.
Reilly has a no movement clause.
Cool.
So we just had a 45-minute conversation about no movement
Hey,
clauses.
you know who signed
I don't know
that?
if you can move it.
The two guys that we mentioned?
I think Morgan Reilly's here to stay, and you got to figure it out with him.
He's got 3 years. No, he doesn't.
No, he has more than that. Till 2030.
Oh, no. It's 3 years. 3 years after this one.
No.
Yes, I guess.
Yes.
Well, there's the 20. No, I think it skips ahead that 2030 number, doesn't it? Because it says 2030, but that's just.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it's till 2030.
Oh, shit. Sorry, it's displayed as. Oh,
yeah, because that doesn't keep going.
Oh, wow.
But Morgan Reilly's got a no movement clause. $7.5 million, I think, is relatively cheap under the higher salary cap in 2 years for the role that Morgan Reilly's expected to play on this team. I think you got to figure it out with him. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Man, Brad Treliving has literally no work to do on the back end for like several years.
Yeah, well, he might, though. He might still have to work on moving that deal.
He might.
No matter what. I'm telling you, I never liked that. I've never liked that deal. Never. It took a lot of shit when it was signed. I never liked it. I like the player. I like the person even more. He's a great guy.
It has been an inefficient use of money. But I think it's largely gone under the radar because year in and year out, you're spending even more money on an offense that regularly disappears
in the playoffs
the moment
Yep.
The calendar turns over.
Yep. Agreed.
I think to be your first pairing left shot defenseman, that's a good amount of money.
Yeah, that's a good amount of money. Is he playing up to it?
There it is.
Right. This season, no, but he has in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we gotta hope
I feel
that he
like
gets
the
back to
salary
that.
cap has been, the cap hit has been adequate for what he's done in the past. This season, no, but there's no reason he can't get back to that or he can't display that when we need it the most in the playoffs.
Do I let the words leave my mouth? I'm deciding. I better make a decision quick. First game with a new partner, though.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I've got to tell you this, man.
He should be used to a first game with a new partner.
It better work with this partner.
If it doesn't, you need to have the should this guy go conversation. Because
How?
Well,
what if he says no?
Then it's a very short conversation, just like Mitch.
I think that's what, if you approach Morgan Reilly with a trade, I think that's what happens. And he says no.
There is something to be said, though, and CJ said this on the CJ show, where a team, when they express that they don't want you anymore, a lot of guys will be like, maybe at first they'll say no, but then eventually they go, you know what, maybe I should go. Or maybe we should. Now, are the Leafs going to get any value? Zero. Because he'll be able to choose where he wants to go.
Yep.
But I just look at this and I'm like, you need to see more from this guy. Specifically need more. And if that doesn't come till the playoffs, I'm open to that. If you're not good until the playoffs, Morgan, like if we're getting 80% of that deal to the playoffs, but then the playoffs he gives us 120%, I'm down.
What's the best series
he might be hurt.
He's played in his entire life?
Tampa 2023.
Did they win?
Yes.
There you go. That's how important he is to this team. He's important.
Yeah.
He plays great, you have a chance. If he doesn't, could be a long night.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. Listen up, guys. It's spring break season. Whether you're hitting the beach or road tripping with your crew or maybe hopping on a flight to paradise, you might want to keep that grooming right.
Yeah, if you're going down to Mexico, you tidy up first.
Yes. And that's why you need the handyman.
No offense, you out there.
Yeah.
Tidy up.
Jesse's been checking you out, and boy, you need to tidy up.
Whoa.
Yeah. The Handyman Rocket Man Special Edition for Manscaped. That's where this comes in. It's a sleek, portable face shaver built for on-the-go freshness, making it the perfect travel companion for your entire spring break adventure. And also, it lasts beyond spring break, so you can even use it this summer when maybe you're at the beach again.
Here's the thing that happened. Adam said he would wear a Speedo for this ad, and we all said no.
Well,
Speedo for his face, because this is about a facial.
Yeah. No more.
That's what Jesse meant.
The downstairs area, too.
No more showing up to pool parties or late night beach bonfires with that scruff that you don't want. The Handyman has you covered. Just a quick PSA, though. There are limited quantities of the Handyman Rocket Man. So you'll need to act fast, which is why you should use our code. It's Dangle. 20% off and free shipping internationally. Again, it's 20% off, free shipping. Handyman Rocket Man from Manscaped. Use that promo code Dangle. Now, let's move on to Boston, gentlemen, because Elliot Friedman dropped a bombshell in his headline segment in the second intermission of Hockey Night in Canada. Brad Marchand was traded for a conditional second that will turn into a first depending upon how much he plays in the playoffs, okay? But more to that, it was, why did Brad Marchand get traded? Did he not earn the right to get an extension, remain captain of this team, and usher in a new era?
Yep.
And if you'd asked us right up until he was traded, we would have been like, yeah, of course he's going to re-sign there. What, are you crazy? Mm-hmm. And it turns out that's not necessarily true. The Bruins wanted to give Brad a 3-year, $3 million per contract, which is
outrageous.
Brad naturally wanted more. And Friedge said that they sat down and Brad looked at Sweeney in the face and said, I will bend on my number, but I need you to bend on yours. And the Bruins said, no.
Outrageous.
So
outrageous.
Don Sweeney was asked about it at the press conference. Jesse, I just sent it through to you there. Let's play this clip because I think you'll be interested in the next 40 seconds here.
Just had a gap. Deep down, we had been talking, really from day two, I think, of free agency in terms of what his intentions were and where we were at. And we always had a bit of a term gap that took us a while and felt that we had been able to bridge that. But again, a player is more than entitled to have an understanding of what they think their market value is and do what's best for them. And I have to always respect that. There's never, an ounce of me that won't respect what that player thinks is best for he and his family. And that's the decision that was made. And then we had to make a really, really difficult decision to say, well, let's give Brad another opportunity, with a really good team. And then he can make his decision, as what he thinks is best moving forward.
Okay, we'll pause it there.
3 times $3 million. Listen, as a Leafs fan, I would like to sue Brad Marchand, personally for therapy bills. But from the beginning of his career, he made $590,000 for 2 years. It was a different era.
Yeah.
Right? Then 2-year, $2.5 million extension, 4-year, $4.5 million extension, and he's on the final year of a deal paying him $6.13.
Of how many years was that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a Hockey Hall of Famer. He's going to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And the most amount of money he will make by the end of his career, unless he signs for more than this in the offseason, which isn't impossible, but we'll see. In this crazy era of guys making $7, $8, $9, $10, $11, $12 million, 13 even this year, Marchand will never have made even 6.5. And you offered him, and your captain, he's got 47 points this season. He's not performing poorly. He's maybe lost a step a little bit, but he just represented his country. He's the fabric of the Boston Bruins. And you offered him 3 times 3? Marchand should have flipped the table. He should have left the room and never returned, which I suppose is what he did. Listen, the reverence that I talk about the Boston Bruins with, the reluctant respect, the begrudging respect. They draft Bruins, they sign Bruins, they develop Bruins. They get people who get with the program. And with each passing story with the Bruins, the veneer is just wearing off and dying. The Mitchell Miller stuff. The, blowing playoff rounds.
Mm-hmm.
The Swayman stuff. The Marchand stuff. The Ullmark mistake made before Swayman, which led to the Swayman.
That was a not a good trade.
What Bruins fans should be happy with the job Don Sweeney and Cam Neely have done as of late? Oh, Jim Montgomery.
Yeah.
Fired him and unprecedented success after that, right? No, the Blues have a better chance making the playoffs than the Bruins do right now. They've done an abysmal job this season. And some things work against you, fine. Injuries and all that.
They worked against themselves by making Swayman skip.
Yes!
Though.
And why did that happen?
Because they wanted to shave an extra $500,000 off of his contract. It was a $500,000 difference.
And you got rid of all your leverage by trading Ullmark to who?
The Senators.
The Sens, who are in your division and might make the playoffs.
And you took on a goaltender from them that makes $4.5 million or $4.25 or something.
You got the Sens to retain a bit, but
I mean,
they've done a horrible friggin' job recently of everything. They've recouped some assets, right? You know, as far as sellers go, they could have had a worse deadline. I don't know how you should be able to get an unconditional first. I think that pick is safe. A lot of people are like, man, can you believe the Bruins only got a second for Marchand? It's going to be a first.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty confident it's going to be a first. But 3 times 3? I think it would have been better if you just made him no offer. 3 times 3. Hey, Brad, we think you deserve to make as much as Timothy Liljegren and less than Justin Hall. What do you say? Alex Kerfoot just signed for $3 million.
Leafs had to pay him 3.5.
1 sec.
What are you looking at?
Is cannabis legal in Massachusetts? That's the only logical explanation.
Is that what it is?
So Massachusetts allows purchase and use of recreational cannabis by people over age 21. I think we found it. That's the only logical reason why you would think Brad Marchand is only worth 3 times 3. You must be out of your mind.
Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a clip to play, but I don't want to play it yet. When you hear that number from Freach, what's your instant reaction?
The number wasn't from Freach. It was from Bucci Gross.
Oh, that's
who gave out. Freach told the story about him having the sizable gap and him saying, "Oh, I'm willing to compromise," but they weren't willing to compromise. But Bucci Gross is the one with the actual dollar figure. So just to get that credit correct, there's a perspective here where you can say that you applaud a front office for having a hard line in the sand on their evaluation of players. Yeah. I think we criticize teams all the time for giving out deals that are too big to maybe some core 4 players in some markets.
Yep.
And this team had a number on what they thought his production would be worth in years 38, 39, and 40 of his life. And they thought it would be 3 times 3, which is, I think, way below what you should be. But at least they had a number and stuck to it.
He has 21 goals and 47 points. Like, they're not close.
They're not. I don't think they're correct in the evaluation, but they got back assets for somebody who was going to leave in free agency because they couldn't reach a contract. So I think they did the right thing in trading Brad Marchand at the trade deadline. I think they did the wrong thing in saying he's only worth $3 million. And I think if you come to a better agreement, if you're willing to move on your number like he was willing to, he's a Bruin for life. If you come to like $4.5 million or maybe even $5 million, probably not 5, but somewhere 4 something, I feel like Marchand could have come down to that number for to be signed till age 40. Mm-hmm. And them being so stubborn and unwilling to do that, I think is wrong. But at least they stuck to their guns and are trying to build their team through their assessment of talent.
Yeah, and we talked a week ago, like if it wasn't Marchand and the Bruins, we'd be talking about an aging vet, like someone that you got to move.
Mm-hmm.
But, to me, this is a way more salacious story than the Marner stuff, because this is your captain sitting down with you and asking to stay and trying to find a way to stay, and you wouldn't do it. Like, you wouldn't do it in even a sort of honest way. I was just on Brad Marchand's Hockey DB page, and I accidentally came across a stat that is, I can't wrap my head around it. He's a -8 this season in 61 games. It is his first minus season since the 2009-10 season when he was a rookie.
Wow.
And he was a -3 in 20 games.
Barack Obama called him a little ball of hate at the Stanley Cup presentation at the White House.
And that's what he is.
Do you know who else was offered a 3-year deal? This time it was $4 million instead of 4 years instead of $3 million.
Sorry, say that again?
Yeah.
Another player was offered a 3-year deal. This time it was for 4 years instead of 3 years. Last summer.
Oh, Stammer?
Steven Stamkos.
I thought that was 3 million times 8.
Yeah, it was 3 times 8. 3 million a year.
I thought it was 4 years.
No, it was like a Tanev type deal. That's what I was under the impression of anyway.
Either way, $3 million.
Yes.
Same contract AAV that Steven Stamkos was offered by the Tampa Bay Lightning that the Boston Bruins offered to Brad Marchand. And the Tampa Bay Lightning were right. In moving off of Steven Stamkos and bringing in a new core or revamping the core without Steven Stamkos, and they are much better off for it.
They're better off for it, but $3 million is certifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's completely insane. Stamkos last season had 81 points and 40 goals.
Sure.
Even this year, $8 million's too much. Like, Nashville gave him way too much. He's still got 21 goals, 41 points. You know what? He's got less than Marchand in both categories.
Mm-hmm. But is Tampa not perfectly fine? And that's a team that did not recoup assets for their pending UFA.
Yep.
And Boston did, and Tampa is perfectly fine.
Tampa is in a completely different position than the Bruins, though.
They are.
The Bruins are, I think they're in an era where they need to usher in a new generation of Bruins, whereas Tampa are just like
they're just in it.
The Terminator, and they just keep regenerating all these parts. And yeah, they make some soulless decisions, but they're killers.
But I think the idea of making a soulless decision with your franchise's captain is the exact same. And both franchises decided to lowball their captain and move off of him. And either way, they're in different phases of their competitive windows, 100% for sure. Like, they're not in the same stratosphere at all. But the idea of operating soullessly based on, I want to compete, is the correct way to go if you're a general manager.
The difference to me is the Bruins have made so many poor choices recently, whereas Tampa, like...
They're on a heater.
Other than Tanner Jeannot, I can't think of one. Like, they're just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every decision. Tampa, to me, has more benefit of the doubt.
But if you're the Bruins and you're trying to retool, and Brad Marchand doesn't help you do that if he's on an expensive contract, is it not the right decision to get assets?
Letting go of him is the right choice. But, like, to me, it's like, just be honest with him and be like, Brad, here's what we're doing. Don't be like, hey, can you take half... Maybe probably less than half.
But they were honest with him because
they
traded him to his destination. Like, he got to pick, I want to go to Florida, and they moved him there.
And Bruins fans loved it.
And the contract negotiations happened in February.
Yes.
So, like, they gave him a month.
Yeah, they thought they were going to get the deal done over Four Nations, right?
That number was offered to him before the Four Nation face-off?
In February.
Yeah, during.
Oh, they might have won Canada a championship.
Well, I mean, he does now have a significant injury.
Seriously, you just give the little ball of hate something to be hateful about? Hell yeah.
And
thanks, Don.
And it will be weird, I think, when they play each other. We'll see when he gets back. But I did like this comment from Don Sweeney towards the end of the press conference, Jesse. If we can bring up that second clip, because Bruins reporters were rightfully all over Sweeney about it. Like, if you look at a retooling franchise, sending out 5 guys and getting significant assets back, and they did. Even Trent Frederick, who might not play until the first round, got assets.
It was Frederick, Marchand, Brazo, Carlo, obviously.
And there was a 5th. I forget, but there were 5.
And someone else.
Doesn't matter. They got a lot back. They got a lot back for a retooling team. Even if they never use those draft picks and they trade them for something else, it's still a good retool. But here is how the press conference basically ended.
Coyle.
He was asked about, could Brad maybe come back this offseason? Go ahead.
I mean, that's probably a better question for Brad at this point in time, and the emotions that he's going through. I love Brad. I've said all along we've been trying to sign Brad all year long. We had a gap there, and I respect that. Where he believes his market value is, and I hope he respects our position because he's beloved here.
There you go.
Does it?
Yeah. So I just think that's an interesting thing. Can you get over the sting of this? I don't think Brad is going to sign there for $3 million a year, if that's their hard number.
Yeah, you think?
But what if the Bruins aren't able to do all the things that they want to do, and when the music stops, both are available? I mean, I feel like Brad's going to be sought after highly.
It's tricky because, that's a really good organization, right? And, reputation matters. We're kind of seeing that, with, Carolina. They're having trouble getting some stuff done because they don't have the greatest reputation from the tippy top. I'm done and down. Okay, hey, come sign with the Boston Bruins. I feel like most years in recent memory, that's been a very easy conversation.
Yes.
Top-notch organization, top-notch city, top-notch fan base, top-notch team.
Great arena.
Great, sure. What are you getting now?
I think you'll get people interested, very interested.
Oh, it's the Bruins.
And remember, McAvoy's out.
Yes.
Right? We got some injuries here. Lindholm's out.
17 games this season.
That's kind of big, right?
It's huge.
Huge. You need to get some scoring in that lineup. They'll have some money to spend. But, yeah.
Mitch Marner?
maybe.
And Marchand re-signs.
Pasta Marner Marchand? July 1st?
No.
Marner at center, finally.
There we go.
Yeah, you do have great pieces there. I think they won't have any trouble signing people. I don't think they'll have any trouble.
Well, I mean, they'll spend to the cap.
Yeah.
Unless they're committed to rebuilding, I just don't think.
No, I think it's a retool.
Imagine this is an inside job.
Charlie Coyle, by the way, was the 5th Bruin.
I said that.
Oh, you did?
Sorry.
Okay, never mind.
What if this is an inside job and in the summer Brad signs and brings Bennett with him?
Oh, I don't know how much cap space they have, but that would be real interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Get him in there. Sneak him out. Brad did say, this about, this is a funny one. They asked him about how he felt about playing with Sam Bennett, and he's like, well, he's still a dirtbag, but remember because they hit last year during the playoffs.
He punched him in the face.
I think they're gonna have fun playing together. I hope we get to see some time where the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning play each other in the first round, because it's not going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. Damn it! I want to see them play.
What's the point of even having a fourth line when your second line is just full of literally, it's an all-star team of shitheads.
It's great.
You could do Marchand, Bennett, Tkachuk. Just, what's your fourth line? Just send them out there to score.
Yeah, be great. It'd be great.
Or it's Paul Maurice. Just have another all-star team of shitheads.
Now, let's have a quick look at the standings. I'm going to start with the West. Just so you know, the Minnesota Wild fell out of the top 3 in their division. That's how strong the division's been.
That's how injured they've been.
They've been injured too. Yeah. But the Avalanche are now, with the win against the Leafs in third place. Stars second. Jets first. 78, 86, and 92. It feels like that's kind of how those positions are going to stay, unless the Wild sneak back in there. In the Pacific, you got the Golden Knights at 82, the Oilers at 78, the Kings at 75. And in the 2 wild card spots right now, obviously, Minnesota at 76 points. But the Flames with 70, the Canucks with 69, nice. Mm-hmm. The Blues with 69, also nice. And the Utah, on the outside looking in, 4-point spread, difficult to make up, but it's worth mentioning at 66 points, Utah still has a striking chance.
Is Steve going to argue with me that the Ducks are going to make the playoffs?
No.
He might.
Because like 3 days ago you were...
Yeah.
You were
Well, they might. I do think the Ducks are going to be big spenders this offseason, by the way.
You know, we keep talking about... Oh, yeah, for sure. We keep talking about how the Atlantic is important to win. Dallas has got to find a way to somehow, some way, by some miracle. It's going to be so difficult, but past the Jets.
So
you have a game in hand. Colorado's won 5 straight. Colorado's not doing it.
But
They're
look
too
at that.
far back.
The Stars are 8-2-0 in their last 10. I don't think you could do any, respectfully, could you do much better than that?
Not much. I mean, you could have not got your ass kicked by the Oilers, I guess.
Yeah, but didn't the Bruins beat them too? Am I wrong on that? Who did the Bruins beat 4-0? No, Tampa, which is great.
Tampa.
Dallas beating Winnipeg, you're absolutely right. But here's the deal. So Dallas beats Winnipeg, and then what do? Face Colorado in the second round?
Whatever, it's better.
Yeah,
You get to play. Who would you rather play right now? Colorado or friggin' Calgary?
I think Calgary.
Yeah. No, win this division, my friend. Win this division. You need to. You have to. That to me is, oh my God. I mean, what a choice. Who would you rather play? One of Florida or Tampa, or play one of Dallas or Colorado?
And you got to get hot this time of year. Now,
we should do a shout out to the Calgary Flames.
Yeah.
We're sitting in a playoff spot. I don't think anybody expected them to be in this position right now. They've been playing good hockey. Dustin Wolf has been incredible. The fact that they're in a playoff spot is just worth a mention. Vancouver can't score for the life of them. In the last 3 months, their scoring has completely evaporated, and now they're on the outside looking in. And who knows if they can get back in.
This is why the Blues might screw around and make it, because looking at the wild card picture, it's like a who's who of no, you take it, no, you take it, no. Minnesota's lost 2 straight. Calgary's 4-3-3, which is pretty mid. Canucks are literally mid, 5-5. Blues is 7-1-2. They got points in every game in their last 10 except for 1.
The timing of the Parayko injury is just
so
awful.
Terrible.
But if you can find a way without him, there's an opportunity there for that second wildcard spot.
None of the teams I just mentioned have a positive goal differential.
And it's not even close.
Nope. It's not.
It's -18 for the Flames, -19 for the Canucks, and -7 for the Blues.
Yikes.
So yeah,
it's ugly.
Dallas, you might want to pick up your socks. You got 6 points to make up.
Do it.
It's going to be hard when the Jets don't lose to catch them. So
they lost last game.
It doesn't happen often, though.
They're plus 76.
Now,
that's psychotic.
You'll be happy to know that the Dallas Stars, by the way, get basically a whole week off here, and their next game is against the Winnipeg Jets.
Awesome.
And then their next game is against the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh my!
Oh, there you go.
So Dallas Stars hockey this weekend is can't miss.
You know, I hate the perception that between the trade deadline and the playoffs, it's just a bunch of games that are get them out of the way. Just
who says that?
This is the playoffs light.
Yeah, this is great.
This is the ramp up. The Leafs and Panthers are going to kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Central Division is going to kill each other. Everyone's just going to be out for blood for the next 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Then the playoffs start.
Stars and Jets play each other twice before the end of the season. And it looks like the Stars and Avs, this will wrap up their season series next Sunday. So that'll be it. But if you're the Stars, you have to beat the Jets both times.
Yep.
There's your 4 points plus your game in hand. So you'd be tied if you can match the other games they win. But that's a tall task.
And you kind of need to find a way to beat the Avs too. Keep them down. Don't let them grab any more points.
Avs might catch you if you really slip, but Avs aren't catching the Jets.
No.
This is your chance.
Yeah.
No, 8 points back with less than 20 games to play. I don't think the Avs are catching the Stars.
No.
Now, let's look at the Eastern Conference, okay? Top of the Atlantic right now with a game played more than their next competitors, the Florida Panthers. 83 points, 8-2-0 in their last 10. Followed by the Toronto Maple Leafs with a game in hand and the Tampa Bay Lightning with a game in hand. The Leafs with 79 points. The Tampa Bay Lightning with 78. Florida will not die. And by the way, look at those goal differentials. The Panthers and the Lightning much, much higher than the Leafs. And I think the Leafs have had trouble scoring relative to what they're used to all season long, although lately it's started to pick up.
The Leafs... Oh my God!
Like they have less goals. The Leafs have. In what world do the Leafs have less goals than the Carolina Hurricanes? But they do.
Remember when Tampa just didn't lose, and then they lost one, and we were like, yeah.
And
the Panthers without Tkachuk have won 6 straight games.
I know.
Go away.
I know. And
bring off
the East wildcard race is fascinating.
Well, so let me get to the Metro here, just outline it for anybody listening. Washington at 92 points, Carolina at 80, so that's pretty locked in, and Jersey at 74. And Jesse, you are absolutely right. The wild card race is crazy. Number one, because the Columbus Blue Jackets could catch the Devils. The Devils were unable to go and get a Ryan O'Reilly type person, like a centerman to replace Jack Hughes. So it's possible the Columbus Blue Jackets get into that third Metropolitan spot, and you have to think they want to because they're going to have to either play the Leafs, the Lightning, or the Panthers otherwise.
Best story in the league.
And then the Ottawa Senators are in the second wild card spot. If the playoffs started today, they'd be playing the Washington Capitals, which is painful. But right behind Ottawa, you've got the New York, definitely going to make the playoffs, Rangers, 68 points. You got the Detroit Red Wings with 66 points. You got the Montreal Canadiens with 66 points and the Bruins with 66.
Is Adam aware that the Rangers are ass?
They're ass.
2 games in hand.
But I want to.
Sens have on them.
They do, but look at this. In their last 10, the Blue Jackets are 5-4-1. The Senators are 4-5-1. The Rangers are 5-3-2. The Red Wings are 3-6-1, have lost 5 straight, embarrassing. And the Montreal Canadiens are 5-4-1. Of those records, the New York Rangers have the best record.
Yeah.
It's all extremely mid, but I think the Rangers are getting in, guys. I think they're getting in.
I think it ends the way we're looking at it.
No, really? You don't think there's any shift?
Sens might pass the Blue Jackets, but I think those are the 2 teams.
Agreed. I think that we have our 2 wildcard teams there.
Do you think
New York's the worst team to watch in the league? Like, it's so incredibly frustrating because you look at the talent in every game you watch, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to throw this one away."
I wouldn't be shocked if they
brutal
made
hockey.
it. I wouldn't be shocked, but
I wonder where Chris Kreider's playing next year. He's very much not starting next season with the Rangers. That's over, right?
Yeah, but who wants Chris Kreider?
Yeah, well,
4th line
Team
player.
USA in the gold medal game instead of Kyle Connor.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let go of. The Team USA would have rather played 2 different guys at 8 minutes or less instead of Kyle Connor,
who is such a freaking monster. It's unbelievable.
What?
I think Kyle Connor's about to go on a tear and just take it all personally.
Yeah, on behalf of all Canadians, thanks for that super justifiable decision.
Do you think that the Blue Jackets do you think they can get ahead of the Devils here, guys? Do you think they can do this? Can they screw around and do this? By the way, the Blue Jackets are 26-4 at home.
That's absolutely wild. Oh my God, look at them away. They're horrible.
Yeah.
11-18-4? Holy shit.
You're not going to get home ice advantage, but
you're one of the best home teams in the league and probably the worst road team in the playoffs, or in a playoff spot. That's crazy. I think the Devils hold that. I kind of think it just looks similar to what it is. And looking at how dominant the Capitals are in the Metro, poor Carolina has won 4 straight games and made up 0 points. This OV goal chase is so perfectly timed because I feel like it gives the Capitals something to play for is a terrible way to put it, but
that's true.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have the Leafs in recent memory, February onward, it's okay, you're not going to move up, you're not going to move down. There's nothing to play for. Anyway, get ready for the playoffs that don't start for 2 months.
Yeah, you're not sitting back and just hanging out now that you know you're going to win your division. There's actually, we want to score a whole bunch of goals to get this man the record. Yep. It's perfect for the Caps. This might be their year
plus
to go
65.
on a deep run.
No one else is plus 30. Holy shit.
Yeah, this is good.
They're so good.
The Detroit Red Wings and their fall off, we don't really hit on it on this show throughout the season, but they were looking good for the mid stretch of the season, and then now lately they've just completely tailed off.
Watching the Wing Wheels guys react to every game lately, I feel for them. I really feel for them because those are good guys. They deserve better than this. And I think it was Ryan that said, he was like, this team is just so embarrassing. And that was the fourth loss in a row. They've lost one since then.
Well, they got Mrazek.
Everything's solved. It's over.
I think if your favorite player becomes your team's GM, it's bad, actually. I think it's bad.
Joe Sakic got the Avalanche title.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one exception, I think. And there was a time where he looked bad, too.
Bobby Clark got some pretty successful years out of Philly. I don't think they got the cup that they wanted, but they did.
Yeah, and then he ostracized Lindros.
Yeah, but he got to the finals.
Owned the Pens through their Crosby championship.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You're right. Okay, we'll put it this way.
Just say his name.
Why don't I simply say Steve Yzerman's been super ass?
It's not been
really,
a great run.
Really media. He's the king of trades that make you go, how come?
Yeah.
The Wallman trade, how come?
Mm-hmm.
The Mrazek trade, pourquoi?
You can't find the logic, you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jesse,
what goalies are available this offseason? You know he's going to be in on them.
You know
collecting them like friggin' infinity stones.
You won't remember this because we can't remember anything from trade deadline day, but the Mrazek trade breakdown video, for whatever reason, I was like watching it yesterday.
Oh.
Of all the trades, I'm like, yeah, no, I need to know more about the Mrazek trade thing. But Jesse said, I agree that the trade was a fair enough trade to make. I just don't agree with everything else going around. So then the trade doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't
I
agree with the logic.
The trade makes sense, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
No,
I remember discussing.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, wow, that's actually a really good point.
Landed on the the expectation or the explanation for the trade.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but I don't agree with that line of thinking. That I find that's often with Yzerman trades.
Yes.
And signings too.
What are you looking at, Steve?
I'm looking at Yzerman getting repeatedly kicked in the ass. Like I'm just so they retained to help Tampa accomplish getting Bjorkstrand and Gord. You know, the type of behavior that all teams trying to make the playoffs do is help a divisional rival get better. Giving up Oli Mata for a third, you know, the sort of thing that any team with aspirations of making the playoffs do. Husso for future considerations. Man, that signing was so good. You gave up Robbie Fabry to the Ducks and paid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You gave up Jake Woolman to the Sharks and paid to do it. Dude, you stink. What are you doing? I don't understand any of this. He's the king of he's just made so many random moves. You paid to acquire Jeff Petrie. You gave up a pick for that. That was the thing that you did on purpose. This GM, man. If his name wasn't Steve Yzerman, he would have been fired 2 years ago.
There you go. Not much more we can go with that. Not a great.
Hey, here's the most damning evaluation I could ever give of Steve Yzerman. As a Leaf fan, I hope he stays there forever.
Ooh, okay. All right, let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Adam, is Twitter down?
It's back up, and I'm looking at pictures of Brad Marchand in Florida gear.
I hate it.
Pretty wild.
You're not wrong.
It's really
that's weird.
Look at that.
No,
that's weird, man.
Don't show me that.
Wow.
That's
is he gonna play?
Explicit content.
Do you want me to send you something?
No.
Is he going to play?
Not yet. Not yet. I think he's going to be.
He's out like a couple weeks.
Yeah,
right?
at least I think like he might be out the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Do they sell rats at Panthers games? Like
I don't know.
Like toy
Yeah.
rats?
Oh, they sell
the ones
the
to throw on the ice.
Yeah,
right?
like
I thought people brought those.
They should throw them every time he scores.
I think that's a big cleanup.
So Instead of hats, Brad Marchand, if he scores a hat trick, it should be called the rat trick. And you don't throw hats, you throw rats onto the ice. You're in the place where they throw rats with the Panthers. This is perfect. Make $50 gabillion on plastic rats, Florida.
I'm 100% sure the first time he scores a goal, there will be rats on the ice.
100%.
We got a question here from Ekem482X, who asked, what are your thoughts on John Cena turning heel? Well, Ekem, we have a little thing called SDP VIP.
Yeah.
And that is where we talk about non-hockey things. And we hit on that this past week, actually. We did like 25 minutes or something on that. You know, we had a little good wrestling convo. So if you want to hear those types of conversations, we have them. And you can subscribe to SDP VIP on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or on our YouTube channel. So you can find those convos there. Anything to add, gentlemen?
No, I think Steve answered it really great on the VIP. And it was a full segment. And as a non-wrestling guy, I was like, thumbs up.
That's why I made a face, because when you asked that, I'm like, I swear we've already discussed
just answered
this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the Florida Panthers team store. There's some rat plushies that they sell. There's a Florida Panthers 2024 Stanley Cup Champions plush rat. It's very funny.
Does Panthers
win?
That's cool.
Plushie rat.
$30? Holy shit.
American, too.
There's Victor E., their mascot, plushie rat. There's the Florida Panthers plush rat dog toy. They got their rat merch.
Damn.
It's good.
Cats and rats and cups. Love that.
The
Man, this is so perfect for
Florida
Brad.
Panthers gold rat fan chain.
No.
Hell yeah.
Come on. That's awesome.
Reasonable $35. Is that going to make you upset?
Well, no, because it's not designed to throw on the ice.
Well, you don't have to throw your...
They know what they're doing.
You don't have to throw your
They know what they're doing.
plush rat on the ice. You could just hold on to it. Anyway, so yeah, they got plenty of rat stuff for Marchand. Next question. Adam's going to be upset at this one.
I'm sure I will.
Because we have a ref defender.
Oh, cool. Love that.
This is Reilly. Kind of a question. I remember Adam saying there should be less officials on the ice.
Linesman.
I remember Adam saying there should be less officials on the ice at least a few times. How would you handle a situation like the Seattle-Washington game where they gave out penalties to all the skaters? The 4 officials were struggling to keep all the scraps under control. It wasn't anything super dangerous, but I can imagine a scenario getting out of hand with 1 or 2 less stripes on the ice.
I think that's hilarious. And not because you're a bad person or whatever, but go and watch...
I disagree.
Any
Go
game,
to prison.
Go and watch any game in the Gretzky era, in the 70s, in the 60s. They did this for years when the game was far more violent than it is right now. Like when Bobby Clark was hitting people in the head with his stick regularly, there was 1 ref and 1 linesman.
There was a compilation I saw that I don't know why they put this together, but it was just Mark Messier elbows.
And
there should be a prison with a wing of the prison that is just for him.
The Mark Messier wing?
So that no one is anywhere near him.
Because his wings were constantly...
It's crazy he's just out and about walking free in society.
Yeah.
Given what he did on the ice.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about who would win this team versus this team from the 40s or whatever? And it's like,
a fun combo.
Okay, well, the rules were just commit lots of crimes back in the day. And we look at it as like this far gone thing. Nope. The 80s, just a big old bunch of crimes. Can't remember where I was going.
Yeah, so my point is, how would I handle the once or twice a year that there's a brawl on the ice?
Oh, no.
I think you can pull a linesman off and you still have 2 refs. I'm not even saying that you need necessarily to pull having 2 refs, fine, whatever. I can remember Ron McLean and Gary Bettman getting into a really spirited debate about this on Hockey Night in Canada when they added the second ref on the ice. I think you can do most of it without linesmen already. Not in minor hockey, not in the ECHL, not in the NHL or the AHL, whatever. In the NHL, you can do it without linesmen. I think you need a couple refs. And how would I handle a line brawl? I don't know. How many line brawls do we see?
Well, does the NBA prevent bench?
People just don't do it.
Yeah, no.
And if you
punished
leave
for fighting.
Well, or
hockey's the only thing. Well, other than lacrosse,
if you leave the
that
bench,
just allows this.
If you leave the bench in hockey, you get suspended for 10 games. We saw it in Toronto.
Yeah, we sure did.
So yeah, I don't. I understand where you're coming from with that question. I do. I don't think it's a long term. That would be a major issue. I'm not. I don't think the NHL goes, man. Yeah, we need that fourth official out there just in case there's a brawl. That's not why they're there.
Yeah, I bet the NHL watched the Four Nation face-off and was like, "Oh no, we don't want violence." Oh, that would be. I bet people will turn it off.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, 3 quick things to end the show. The Carolina Hurricanes Pro Shop tweeted out, free nameplate replacement if you purchased a Rantanen jersey from the Carolina Pro Shop in-store or online. Bring in your jersey and proof of purchase, and we'll replace the nameplate with the name of your choice for free until August 31st. I think this is a very nice thing to do for your fans. Rantanen, very much not a long-time Hurricane. Only played 14 games, 42 days on the roster.
I think only 2 of those games were at home too. Like, it wasn't many.
Yeah, because it's the Four Nations break happened.
Right.
Yeah. So about, I think it was 42 or 44 days. I can't remember exactly. And 2 home games, only one. Steve Dangle funnily pointed out, only one of those he actually wore a Hurricanes jersey. The other one was a Whalers game. So very nice thing from the Carolina Hurricanes to replace all of those nameplates. Second last thing, Melissa Foley, listener of the show, who created the road trip jersey with all of the patches, is attending a game in Utah.
Yay.
I assume the one tonight. Yes.
So
Melissa
cool.
tweeted, hello from Utah. I'm ready with my updated Leafs road trip jersey for the game on Monday. So Melissa has added the Utah patch to her road trip jersey. If you're listening, it's a Leafs jersey with all of the patches from the teams that she's been to. It is almost complete.
That's so cool.
She's beaming. She knows what she's doing. She didn't just put a Utah logo. She put inaugural season.
Yeah.
She had to let everyone know. Stun on him, Melissa.
This jersey, by the end of it, if you include the Maple Leafs logo on the front, will have 33 logos on it because she already did the Coyotes.
And the Thrashers.
Oh, yeah. And so even more.
Yeah, up top she's got the Thrashers.
Yeah, so 34.
That's
fun.
That's insane.
That's very, very cool.
Oh, plus a Winter Classic, but like I'm talking about the team logo. So that's really cool. And lastly, if you want to end on this, I know you guys hate this man, so I think you'll be happy that somebody threw shade at him. Joel Farabee threw shade at John Tortorella. Do you want to listen?
Oh, yeah.
dare you.
Hell yeah, brother.
And I'm kidding that you guys hate this man.
Like handling the defensive responsibility, playing with those guys, and being out there in a 1-0 game at the end.
Yeah, it's a real treat. Honestly, I started my career in Philly, as a guy that would kind of go out there in the last minute, and then when Torts came in, that was no longer. So it's really nice to be trusted and to be out there, and playing with Coles and backs. They make it real easy. They're in the right spots. They're the amount of pucks they just touch or flag out is really impressive. So.
Well, I mean, that's the truth.
It doesn't. I know a lot of players like playing for Torts. There's a bunch of them that don't, though. And I think Joel may have been one of them.
He used to play at the end of games. Torts came in. He didn't anymore. And then now, back in Calgary, he can.
You very rarely get someone like they'll elude to it. But he was just like, this is the thing I did, and then John came, and I didn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And now I'm back. I'm on the ice when there's 30 seconds left.
And look at me. I did a pretty friggin' good job.
Yeah. So
good for him.
I thought it's rare we hear NHL players say the name.
That trade was pretty good for them.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Frost and Farabee. Here's the thing. Farabee's had a down season scoring-wise because he had like 50 points last year or whatever. I hope that come playoff time, if the Flames are in it, if he goes and he scores a big goal, that's going to be just juice to those legs. You know what I mean? Like that will be sweet revenge.
Good players don't forget how to play hockey, man. How's he been since getting to Calgary?
3 goals in 13 games.
Not great, but they're in a playoff spot. Couldn't be that bad.
It's not about the stats, man.
Yep.
It's not about the individuals. So anyway,
3 of 13 is not bad for fair.
Well, but 0 assists.
It's 0 assists.
The goal scoring.
It doesn't sound so great after that. Hey, just a heads up, brand new Agent Provocateur, brand new CJ show, and brand new us.
Tonight?
Huh?
Are you streaming tonight?
I am not streaming tonight.
Oh, okay.
But Steve will do Thursday, right, Steve?
I think so.
And
Is
Saturday
this music
too.
louder than usual?
Yeah.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.